before the neon lights and city horns, before the bullet trains and blinking screens. There was another Japan, one of lanterns, rain-soaked stone paths, and the soft rustle of silk. In this world, you are not ordinary. You are chosen, trained in silence, in stillness, in secrets wrapped in brocade. You do not speak loudly, and yet your presence commands rooms. You do not run, and yet you shape time around you. You do not reveal yourself, and yet you are unforgettable. This is not a love story. It is not a tragedy. It is a life behind paper walls and wooden pillows, between the folds of embroidered sleeves and practiced smiles. Tonight, close your eyes and return to old Kyoto, to the Okiya where it all began, a place of beauty, mystery, and unbearable discipline. This is the quiet, exquisite burden of becoming a geisha, and now it's your life. Welcome to Boring History for Sleep, where you leave the modern world behind one whispered step at a time. The Kyoto dawn is gentle. The streets are still damp from the evening mist, and the rooftops glisten faintly in the early light. Your eyes blink open to the faint creak of wood and the distant sound of bamboo wind chimes stirring in the breeze. The air is cool and earthy, filtered to the old paper screens of your room. There is no clock, no loud voice calling your name, but you know the rhythm now. You rise without being told. It is what is expected. You are still a child, but childhood here does not follow the rhythm of play. There is no chaos, no tumbling laughter in the street. Your world is quiet, measured, lined in shadows and silk. You live in the Okiya, the geisha house, nestled deep in the folds of old Kyoto. It is a house filled with discipline, history, and silence that speaks louder than words. The women here do not raise their voices. When they laugh, it is behind their sleeves. When they move, they glide like the wind through pine trees. You are not yet one of them, but they see you, watch you, measure your posture, your timing, your eyes when you bow. You are being shaped long before you realize it. Every morning begins with the same rituals. The polished wood floor chills your bare feet. You step carefully, remembering not to let your heels strike hard. You walk heel to toe just as you practiced. You make your way toward the back room, where older girls, the Maiko, are sweeping. Their white painted faces are still untouched by morning preparation, but their bodies already carry the weight of years of refinement. They do not look up when you pass. They do not need to. You feel their presence like stone lanterns in a garden. Always there, always still. In the corner, the oldest woman in the house, the Oka-san, sips tea. Her eyes are nearly closed, but she sees everything. She has lived in this house longer than anyone. She was once a geisha herself, though now her duties are different. She oversees the house, the girls, the money, the reputation. Her approval is not voiced, only given in the subtle nod of a chin or the absence of correction. Today, you greet her with a bow so deep your nose nearly touches the floor. She says nothing. You breathe easier. There's a warmth in the Okiya, but it is not soft. It is not the warmth of a mother's arms or a playful home. It is the warmth of a fire contained in a lantern, controlled, precise. The house smells of incense, old wood, and faintly of powdered rice. The paper walls absorb every sound, and even your thoughts feel too loud sometimes. But you learn to think quietly, to move with intention. Breakfast is plain, rice, pickled vegetables, miso soup, prepared early and eaten in silence. Every bowl, every chopstick, every napkin has its place. You watch how the older girls sit, how they hold their bowls, how they chew without sound. You do the same. Once the bowls are cleaned and the tea set returned to its place, the house begins its true work. One of the Maiko, still half prepared, gestures for you to follow. She is wearing only the underlayers of her costume, her face bare, her hair wrapped for protection. You trail her through the narrow hallways of the house to the training room, where music drifts from behind a sliding door. Inside, a teacher sits on the floor with a shamisen resting across her lap. Her fingers pluck the strings with no sheet music, just memory. You are told to sit. You fold your legs under you, hands on your lap, and listen. For the first 10 minutes, there is only music, no instruction. You are to absorb, not question. Later, you practice your own posture, Back straight, eyes lowered, hands folded just so. The teacher corrects you with a tap of her fan. You do not flinch. You bow again. The rest of the day unfolds slowly. In the afternoon, the older girls prepare for lessons in dance, poetry, and calligraphy. You are not ready for those yet. Your lessons are simpler. How to serve tea, how to pour without spilling, how to kneel without shifting your kimono too much, how to greet a guest with dignity, but no familiarity. Everything you do is watched. Everything you do is judged, but not with anger, with care. When guests come to the okiya, you are not allowed in the main room. You stay behind the screen, listening. The voices are low, often male, laughing at things you don't understand. The sound of shamisen rises, then fades. You imagine the older girls dancing, their sleeves fluttering like cranes in the wind. You do not envy them yet. You only wonder when your time will come. In the evening, after the guests have gone, the girls return. Some are tired. Some are quiet. Some have shining coins in their hands and faint smiles. They hang up their elaborate kimonos and gently remove their wigs and ornaments. Beneath the makeup, they are still girls. Some only a few years older than you. You help clean the tea sets. You place each item back into its place, always with two hands. Your movements are slow, steady, practiced. No one tells you you've done well, but no one corrects you either. Before bed, you sit outside for a moment on the wooden walkway that wraps around the garden. The stones glisten with dew. The koi move lazily in the pond. Bamboo leaves rustle in the soft wind. Somewhere in the distance, a bell rings from a temple. You think about your mother. She is not far, just another part of the city. She sent you here with pride and with hope. You carry that hope like a tiny flame in your chest. You know this house will change you, shape you, turn you into something beautiful, but also something strong. When you return to your room, you change into your sleep kimono. It is simple and unadorned. You lie on the futon, your head resting on the firm wooden pillow. At first, sleep does not come. The sound of the house drift in, the creak of beams, the soft sigh of silk, the occasional cough or laugh. But it is safe here. Every sound means you are surrounded by others walking the same path. You close your eyes and picture the shamisen teacher's fingers, the way she moved without effort, her face still, her breath even. You think of the way the older girls walked, the way the Okusen sipped her tea, never spilling, never speaking. You think of the shrine in the corner of the house, with its faint incense and wooden fox statue. You pray, in your own way, that you can become what they see in you. Tomorrow, the same lessons, the same rice, the same bows and silences and gentle corrections. But tomorrow, you will be a little better, a little straighter in your back, a little calmer in your hands. That is how you become. And so you drift off, wrapped in the quiet of the okiya, in the careful stillness of a world built on centuries of ritual. You are not yet a geisha. You are not even yet a Maiko. But you are learning every day, every breath. And that is enough. You are learning to sleep differently now. No longer on the soft futons of your childhood. No longer surrounded by the warmth of your mother's arms or the gentle noise of your family's laughter at the hearth. Here, in the okiya, sleep has rules. Even dreams must follow discipline. The wooden pillow, called the takamakura, is not truly a pillow. It is a cradle, a small lacquered stand, only a few inches tall, padded with rolled cloth. It's meant not for comfort, but for preservation. Your hair, freshly styled and lacquered, cannot be disturbed. It took hours to shape, pin, and adorn. A single wrong movement and it will collapse. And if it does, you will be punished, not harshly, but firmly. The hair must last for days. You must learn not to move. The first night is the hardest. Your body yearns to shift. Your shoulder tingles. Your neck aches. Your spine pleads for adjustment. But you stay still, stiff as a board. You breathe in, and the scent of camellia oil clings faintly to your hair. You breathe out, and the cold of tatami rises through your thin bedding. The room is dark, except for a faint glow beyond the shoji screens. A paper moon, perhaps, or the far-off glow of a lantern hanging from a neighbor's gate. Sleep does not come in waves, as it once did. It arrives like a cautious guest, stepping quietly across the threshold. At first, you lie half awake. You hear the other girls around you in the sleeping quarters. One shifts slightly. Another exhales sharply through her nose, a fragment of a dream spilling from her lips. Yet even they, the more seasoned Maiko, do not move too much. Stillness is a skill, one that takes years to perfect, and you are just beginning. You close your eyes and try to imagine yourself floating above your body. The pillow disappears. The pain melts. Your arms feel weightless. Your breath grows long, deep, controlled. This is how you survive the night, not by resisting discomfort, but by transcending it. Outside, the city sleeps too. Kyoto, in the quiet hours before dawn, is a city of sighs and shadows. Fog settles low across the cobblestone lanes. The lanterns have all been extinguished. The tea houses are shuttered. The courtyards are still. Somewhere in the distance, a bamboo fountain tips, empties, and clicks softly back into place. Then silence again. Inside the okiya, the silence is sacred. The wooden floors creak only when necessary. Every step is learned. Every movement reduced to its simplest form. The house is like a theater before the show begins, where every curtain hangs in place. Every prop is waiting. Even in sleep, you are expected to be graceful. Even in rest, there is discipline. At some point in the night, you drift fully into sleep, but it is not the sleep of other children your age. There are no sprawling limbs, no twisting of blankets, no soft snoring or murmuring dreams. Your body remains fixed. You breathe shallowly, and your dreams come in strange, delicate fragments. A folding fan floating down a river, the scent of sandalwood rising from a cup of tea, a chorus of bells chiming far away. You do not know yet what it means to be a full geisha. You are still a novice, but already your body is being trained for it. The posture, the silence, the patience. Even your sleep is preparation. The wooden pillow becomes your first true teacher. In the morning, the world returns in fragments. You feel the chill of the air on your cheeks before your eyes open. The light is blue and pale. The sky outside has not yet turned golden. A bird chirps faintly in the garden beyond the gate. Then, you hear the soft rustle of another girl rising. She folds her bedding with perfect corners. Her feet do not slap the floor. They slide, quiet and composed. You open your eyes and blink into the soft glow of morning. Your neck is stiff, but your hair is untouched. The pins are in place. The combs haven't shifted. You have passed the test. You will not need your hair redone today. And for that, the house mother will be pleased. You rise slowly, carefully. Your knees fold under you. Your back straightens. You bow slightly toward the room, toward no one in particular. Just the space, the moment. You fold your futon with quiet hands. Outside, the house begins to wake as well. The kitchen hums faintly with activity. Rice begins to steam. A kettle clicks onto the coals. The scent of miso drifts down the corridor. One by one, the other girls emerge. Some still groggy, some already perfect in posture and spirit. Today, like every day, you will practice again. Your mornings begin with tea, not to drink, but to serve. Every movement memorized. The bow, the pour, the placement of the cup, then calligraphy. You trace ancient poems on parchment, each stroke deliberate and slow. Your fingers learn to dance, your wrist to breathe. Then comes music. You sit with the shamisen resting against your knees. The instructor does not smile. She is not here to praise. She listens. She corrects. You play the same note over and over until it becomes part of your body, part of your breath. It is the same with dance. A single step is repeated 100 times, then 100 more. You are not learning to entertain. You are learning to enchant, subtly, silently, precisely. But all of this begins with the night. And every night begins with that same wooden pillow. It will follow you for years. From Maiko to Geisha, from inexperience to mastery. You will sleep on it in every season. Through the cold months when the air bites your nose and the hot ones when sweat drips down your neck. You will grow used to it. You may even miss it one day, for it teaches you not only how to be still, but how to endure. And in that stillness, you find something unexpected. Peace. Not the peace of comfort, but the peace of knowing your purpose, of belonging to a world that values grace and order, a world where silence speaks louder than words, where beauty is created through repetition, through ritual, through restraint. And as your eyes close again, just before the light of dawn fills the room fully, you no longer fear the Takamakura. It is not an enemy now. It is a companion. A quiet reminder that you are becoming something rare, something revered. You sleep, poised and still, like the surface of a lake at dawn. And the house sleeps with you. You are awake before the sun. A soft knock on the frame of your sliding door pulls you from the edge of dreams. The knock is not urgent. It never is. Everything in the Okiya follows a rhythm, gentle, practiced, composed. You open your eyes in the quiet dark and sit up carefully. The air is cool, not cold, but enough to remind your skin that morning has come. You feel the familiar stiffness in your neck from the wooden Takamakura. You do not resent it. It is part of your world now. You slide the futon to one side, rise onto your knees, and fold the bedding neatly. Your body moves slowly, but deliberately. Each motion has meaning. Each movement is part of a larger dance. Even when no one is watching, the training continues. There is no speaking. Words are precious in the Okiya, reserved for lessons, performance, and purpose. The morning begins not with voices, but with intention. You kneel beside the small ceramic basin set near the corner. A folded cloth, damp and cool, waits for your hands. You wipe your face gently. The water is not scented. It does not need to be. The ritual of cleansing is enough. In another room, you hear soft movement. The shuffle of fabric, the careful folding of layers, the creak of a floorboard under practiced feet. None of the girls speak. They, too, are returning to the day as though waking from a long meditation. You dress in a simple underkimono, not the ornate layers of performance, but a soft, muted garment for the hours before lessons. Your hands move instinctively, tying the sash at your waist just tight enough. Your sleeves fall into place like wings folding shut. You are still young, still learning, but you have begun to internalize the rhythm of this place. The hallway is dim. A paper lantern casts a gentle glow, its flickering flame dancing against the shoji screens. You pass other girls silently. One bows slightly. You return the gesture, wordless. Politeness is a thread that ties every morning together, subtle, constant, invisible. The scent of dashi fills the house before you ever reach the kitchen. It is not overwhelming, just a gentle reminder that something warm waits ahead. The broth has simmered since before you rose. A mixture of bonito flakes, kelp, and care. You follow your nose past the tea room and the rehearsal room to where the morning meal is being prepared. The kitchen is small but orderly. An older woman, who has cooked here for more years than you've been alive, stands with her back to the room. She moves slowly, but each motion is efficient. Her hands know every pot, every flame, every ladle. A steaming wooden container of rice sits open. A basket of pickled vegetables rests nearby. Slivers of radish, cucumber, perhaps a plum. There is no waste, no excess, just balance. You sit at your assigned place, knees folded beneath you. There is no rush. Breakfast is not devoured here. It is consumed with care. A small bowl of rice, a portion of miso soup, pickled vegetables arranged neatly. Sometimes a piece of grilled fish, thin and light. You lift your chopsticks with both hands. You bow your head slightly before beginning. Gratitude is silent, but ever present. Others begin to enter. The youngest Maiko first, like yourself, then the more experienced girls. Finally, the Okeison, the mother of the house. When she enters, every girl stands. No one is told to do so. It happens instinctively, a wave of respect that moves through the room. She does not smile. She rarely does. Her presence is not harsh, but it is unshakable. She walks with calm authority, her sleeves trailing behind like shadows. Her eyes scan the room. She does not speak. She simply sees. Her gaze moves across you for a brief second. You feel it, not just on your posture, but on your presence. Is your hair in place? Are your eyes alert? Is your body properly folded? Your demeanor composed? These questions need no voice. They live in her glance. Then she moves on. The girls return to their bowls. The room remains quiet. Only the soft clink of porcelain and the occasional breath breaking the silence. There is no small talk, no idle gossip. The morning is not for chatter. It is for reflection, preparation. You chew slowly. Rice warm and soft. The miso soup earthy and light. The pickled vegetables sharp but clean. As you eat, your thoughts drift. Not wildly, but in measured ways. You think of the lessons ahead. The musical scales you must repeat on the shamisen. The calligraphy strokes you must master without error. The posture drills. The walking exercises. The dance routines. Each hour of the day already mapped out. Like a garden path you walk again and again, perfecting each stone along the way. The other girls finish one by one. Each girl wipes her lips with a cloth and places her dishes gently in a basin. There is no clatter. The kitchen remains a place of ritual. Every act is deliberate. You finish your last bite and rise with your bowl. You bow your head again. Even a simple breakfast deserves reverence. Back in the hallway, the day begins to breathe. Light slips between the screens, casting pale lines on the wooden floor. You pause and kneel before the Kamidana, the small household shrine, where incense burns slowly. You press your hands together in silence, a quiet prayer not spoken aloud, for patience, for grace, for the strength to learn. Then it is time for cleaning. The youngest, like you, are responsible for the early chores. With a soft broom in hand, you begin sweeping the walkway just outside the Okia's front gate. The air is cool. The stone path is slightly damp with morning dew. Each sweep of the broom is gentle, not rushed. Even the act of cleaning is a form of practice. You learn rhythm. You learn care. Inside, others wipe the woodwork, dust the shelves, straighten the tatama mats. The Okiya must remain pristine, not for visitors. Not even for the Okayasan, but because a geisha's world is one of attention and order. To serve beauty, you must live in beauty, even when no one is looking. By the time the morning bell chimes, the house is awake. The rooms are clean. The kitchen is empty. The girls are changed. Lessons await. But in this moment, just before you step into the rehearsal room, you pause once more in the hallway. A breath, a second. The silence of the morning still lingers around you. It hums in your bones. It holds you steady. This silence is your foundation. It is not empty. It is not void. It is full of memory, of ritual, of presence. You begin to understand now why the mornings are quiet. They shape the mind before it is filled with the noise of training and performance. They prepare you not just to move, but to move with meaning. You take your first step toward the lesson room. Your foot glides forward, heel to toe, measured and mindful. The silence follows, and in its embrace, you continue your journey. There is a kind of stillness that settles just before the transformation. It is not the stillness of sleep or rest, but of anticipation, a pause before the ritual begins. You kneel on the mat, back straight, eyes lowered, waiting. The room smells faintly of starch, sandalwood, and the soft powder used for the base. This is the hour where your skin becomes canvas, where your true face is hidden and a new one is carefully born. The tools are already laid out. Small wooden trays hold what appear to be the belongings of an ancient alchemist. Bowls of chalk white powder, brushes of various shapes. Small containers filled with red, black, and a hint of blue. There is no mirror before you. You are not here to admire. You are here to become. The first sensation is always the cold. A cloth soaked in chilled water is pressed gently against your face. Your skin tightens in response, but you do not flinch. You are used to this now. It is part of your role, part of your evolution. The cold prepares your skin for what comes next. A bowl of rice powder mixed with water is turned into a thin, pale paste. The woman applying it is precise. She dips her brush, then sweeps it across your cheeks, your forehead, your nose. The powder is not rubbed, but painted. A thin layer, then another, then another. With each stroke, your features soften, not in form but in presence. Your human warmth disappears beneath the layers. The girl who awoke this morning, face flushed from sleep and touched by the morning chill, is slowly fading. In her place emerges something cooler, controlled, and quiet, a figure from a different realm. When the white base is done, there is a moment of waiting. It must set. The air dries it. You breathe slowly through your nose, careful not to disturb the surface. Your hands rest in your lap, motionless. Any movement now could cause a crease, a smudge. Perfection begins with patience. That is what they tell you. Next comes the rouge. The tiniest of brushes is dipped in vermilion, a precise red, both deep and bright, drawn from safflower petals. It stains quickly. It must be handled with care. The artist touches the brush to your lips, not fully, just the center, a soft heart shape, floating within the white expanse. The corners of your mouth remain bare. This is tradition. The unfinished lip, a symbol of youth. A full red lip is for the older ones, the seasoned performers. You are still a Maiko, still learning. Then the eyes, a trace of red, or sometimes black at the corners. Not dramatic, just enough to frame. Your eyebrows, still faint beneath the white, are darkened and reshaped. Higher, more arched, more elegant. Each line changes you. Each mark adds distance between who you are and who you must become. And finally, the nape. 2 lines of bare skin are left untouched at the back of the neck, forming a shape known as a W-shaped nape. It is deliberate. In a world where modesty rules, the glimpse of an unpainted neck becomes the most alluring detail. A quiet signal of beauty understood by those who know where to look. When it is done, you rise. The powder may feel stiff. Your lips are tight, your face no longer your own. But the sensation passes. You do not think of comfort now. You think of stillness. How to hold your head just so. How not to touch your cheek. How to carry this fragile porcelain mask through the day without letting it crack. Then comes the layering. The undergarments are folded and tied. Soft cotton first, then stiffer silk. Your arms are guided through the sleeves. Each piece is wrapped and smoothed, overlapping perfectly, layer upon layer, color upon color, until you feel like a figure carved from cloth. The kimono, patterned in bold, slides over your shoulders. It is heavier than you remember. It always is. Silk holds weight. History holds weight. You do not dress yourself. There is a woman here whose only task is to dress the Maiko. Her hands are skilled, firm, efficient. She speaks rarely, her fingers communicating more than her mouth. She tucks, straightens, adjusts. Your posture must match the lines of the garment. The kimono does not bend to you. You must rise to meet it. The collar is arranged. As a Maiko, your collar is red and embroidered, and it sits slightly lower in the back than it would for others. This is another sign of your status, a signal to those who understand the language of cloth. A geisha's collar is white, high, formal. Yours is vibrant, youthful, still in training. Then comes the obi. The sash is not a mere belt. It is a sculpture, a declaration, a fabric that can span several meters, wrapped around your torso and knotted in a style unique to your role. Today, it will be tied in the Darari style, long, flowing, with the ends trailing behind like a ribbon in the wind. It takes strength to tie, strength to carry. The knot sits at your back, high and structured. You will not lean against a wall today. You cannot. By the time the dressing is finished, you have become someone else. Your face is porcelain. Your body is silk. Your breath is measured. The girl who scrubbed floors that morning is hidden beneath layers of elegance and artifice. But she is still there. You know that. She does not vanish. She only learns how to be still beneath the mask. Your teacher enters to inspect. The Okeison stands just within the doorway. Her eyes, as always, are sharp. She does not approach. She observes. The drape of the sleeves, the placement of the collar, the finish of the face. She sees everything, and she says very little. Sometimes nothing at all. A nod means you may go. A frown means something must be redone. Today, there is no comment. You bow. deeply, then turn. Your steps are small, controlled. The hem of your kimono brushes the floor, just barely. You do not rush. Every movement is a performance now, not only for the stage or the tea house, but for the world itself. The moment the paint touched your face, you became an embodiment of something much older than yourself. A tradition, a practice, a presence. Even your silence is part of the performance. You do not hum. You do not sigh. You walk the halls of the Okiya like a shadow, soft, dignified, unseen but always felt. Others pass you and bow. You bow in return. It is not about hierarchy. It is about harmony. Everyone knows their place. Everyone moves in rhythm. Later, you will attend lessons. You will practice music, dance, conversation. You will serve tea. Perhaps there will be a guest to entertain, or rehearsal to attend. But for now, you carry the weight of silk and powder, and you do it with grace. That is a lesson beneath all others. How to carry the weight and make it look like flight. You pause at the end of the corridor, where a low table holds a single mirror. You do not lean in. You do not touch. You simply look. The face in the reflection stares back, distant, composed, blank like porcelain. But behind it, you still feel the breath of the morning, the softness of rice, the chill of water against your skin. The transformation is complete, but you have not disappeared. You are there, beneath it all, waiting, watching, learning. You turn away from the mirror, and you walk into the rest of the day. The afternoon hush settles over the Okiya like a second skin. Outside, the sun tilts low, spilling light across the corridor floors, catching the threads of your kimono as you walk, slowly, with short steps, toward the room where silence becomes your next teacher. Your sandals are left at the edge of the tatami. You kneel without needing to be told, legs folded neatly beneath you, spine straight. The silence in this room is not empty. It is rich with history, with repetition, with the faint scent of ink and old wood, and the quiet breath of those who came before you. The floors have borne the weight of generations. You add yours, carefully, like another brushstroke in a painting too large to see. The classroom is never loud. Voices are kept low. Instructions are spoken slowly. It is not because the lessons are easy, they are not, but because discipline is quiet and mastery is patient. Your calligraphy teacher is already seated. She is older, with silver in her hair and stillness in her bones. Her movements are sparse, deliberate. She does not waste words. When she looks at you, she sees your brush before she sees your face. That is the way of things here. You bow deeply before her and receive your paper. The brush feels heavier today. Or perhaps it's your hands that feel light, not from ease but from fatigue. The weight of the kimono, the stiffness of your painted face, the pressure performed without flaw, it lingers, even in stillness. The teacher nods. You dip the brush in ink and begin. You draw the same character again and again. Each stroke must be perfect, not just in shape but in feeling. The brush must not tremble. The pressure must be even. The ink must not bleed. Every mark you make is a mirror of your discipline. It shows where your mind wanders, where your breath falters, where your focus flickers. It reveals everything. Mistakes are not punished with scolding. They are met with silence. The teacher simply places a fresh paper before you and waits. That is how you know you have missed a mark. The correction is wordless, and so must be your acceptance. You bow again and begin again. Time bends strangely in the classroom. Minutes do not pass the way they do elsewhere. There are no clocks, no sudden noises, only the rustle of sleeves, the soft scratching of brushes, the occasional sigh of a tatami under shifting weight. Your legs begin to lose feeling. Your knees burn slightly, but you do not move. To shift would disturb the room's stillness, and that is a greater error than a crooked line. After an hour, the papers are cleared, not with ceremony, not with praise. You are given no verdict. That, too, is a lesson, to continue without reassurance, to refine without applause. You bow again, then rise carefully, letting the blood return slowly to your legs. Now comes the shamisen. The instrument is already waiting. You lift it gently, with the same reverence as one might hold a child or a sacred scroll. It is not just wood and string. It is a voice, one you must learn to speak with, without ever raising your own. Your teacher for music is younger than the calligraphy instructor, but her precision is no less sharp. She does not speak unless necessary. She watches your fingers, your grip, the way your wrist bends as you hold the plectrum. You strum. Once. Then again. The sound is too thin. You know it before she does. But she speaks anyway, her tone soft, clipped, and unmistakably correct. Your wrist. You adjust. Too stiff. You try again. The notes do not just have to be right. They must arrive with grace, with weight and lightness combined, as if the instrument is singing through you, not being forced by you. Your legs ache again from kneeling, but you remain. The strings bite into your fingertips. It is expected. You will develop calluses. Pain is part of polish. You learn to pluck with rhythm, to pause where needed, to let the notes breathe. Music is not about filling every silence. Sometimes the art lies in knowing when not to play. The teacher does not praise when you improve. She only nods once. That nod means everything. The lesson continues. You lose track of how long. You are not watching time. You are watching your fingers. Listening, measuring, correcting, repeating, always repeating. By the time you set the shamisen down, your arms are heavy, but your shoulders are square. You bow again. The teacher bows in return, barely. It is finished. Or rather, that part is finished. Now you are led to the next room. The fan is already there, resting atop a folded cloth. Its wooden ribs are delicate, its silk painted with cranes in flight. You pick it up as instructed, careful not to smudge the design. This is a fan you'll use for dance. Your dance teacher is tall and slender, like a reed in the wind. Her movements are impossibly fluid. When she demonstrates, the fan becomes an extension of her hand, her body. There is no boundary between dancer and tool, between movement and meaning. She performs a sequence without words. You are expected to memorize, absorb, and repeat. You do, or you try. Your first pass is clumsy. The fan wobbles. Your sleeve catches. Your step is too long. She stops you not with sound, but with a raised hand. Then she shows you again the turn of the wrist, the placement of the foot, the slight tilt of the chin. Everything matters, even what seems small. You perform again, and again. The goal is not to be seen, not in the way that calls attention. The goal is to disappear into the beauty, to become seamless, effortless, like the brushstroke in calligraphy or the quiet note in music, like the painted face you wear. The room grows warmer. The sun outside fades. The shadows lengthen. But the lesson continues until your teacher decides the rhythm has been met. Only then does she give a final, silent bow. You return it. The fan is placed carefully back on its cloth. You are exhausted, not in a loud way, but in the deep, humming way of someone who has poured themselves into form, structure, and silence for hours without break. Your body is sore. Your mind is full. And still, you feel quiet satisfaction. Not pride. That is too strong a word. But something softer, like being part of something far older than yourself. You return to your quarters as the evening bells begin to ring. You do not speak to anyone on the way. Everyone else moves with the same silence, the same grace. There are nods, yes, bows, but no chatter, no laughter. Not here, not now. The lessons are over for today, but the learning is never finished. You will rise tomorrow and do it all again, and again, until your fingers no longer ache, until your brush no longer trembles, until your dance becomes breath, until the beauty you practice no longer feels like something outside you, but something you carry quietly always, even in stillness, because that is the heart of the training, to become something that moves without motion, speaks without words, to learn how to vanish inside the art, until the art is all that remains. The lessons are finished, but your role is not. The classroom may be behind you for the day, but your education continues in a new form now. Not in the hush of the Okia, but out in the quiet pulse of the old city. You are already dressed. Your kimono is carefully selected by your elder. Its sleeves are long, almost to your knees, a marker of your status as a Maiko. The fabric is rich, embroidered with seasonal flowers and swirling rivers and silk threads. It weighs heavily on your shoulders, a constant reminder to move with grace. The obi is tied high, in an ornate knot that sways like a banner behind you. It is not just for appearance. It is history, identity, and formality stitched into silk. Your hair has been arranged earlier, a towering structure of glossy black, shaped and pinned by expert hands. Combs of tortoiseshell and kanzashi pins glint as you tilt your head. You do not touch it, not ever. It is sculpted to last for days, and you sleep on a wooden pillow to preserve it. Beauty has its own demands. Now, as twilight drapes itself over Kyoto, you descend the wooden stairs and step out into the world. The street is quiet, not with silence, but with the kind of stillness that holds its breath. A paper lantern is lit by the door of the okiya, its warm glow spilling out into the dusk. Others join it, flickering into life one by one, as if the city itself is slowly waking for the night. You are not alone. Other Maiko walk beside you, each dressed in their finest. You do not speak. You have no need to. Conversation is for other times, other places. Here, on these cobbled paths through Gion, silence is the proper companion. The okobo on your feet, those tall lacquered sandals, lift you several inches above the ground. They make your steps careful, deliberate. With each movement, a small click echoes down a narrow street, rhythmic and even, like rain dripping from a roof. The sound is unmistakable. It is the sound of Maiko walking through the old quarter. You walk in a line, not rushed, not slow, but with the pace of someone who knows that every gesture, every step, is being watched. Not openly, not rudely, but with curiosity, with reverence. Occasionally, someone passing by will glance your way. They do not stop. They do not speak. They nod, sometimes bow, and continue. To them, you are part of the landscape, not in a dismissive way, but in the way that cherry blossoms belong to spring or temple bells belong to morning. You are a moving painting, a piece of living tradition that has stepped out from time and into twilight. The old buildings of Gion rise around you, wooden lattices, tiled roofs, low doorways glowing with amber light. The scent of charcoal, tea, and incense hangs in the air. It is not strong, just faint enough to notice if you are paying attention. You always are. That is your training. With each step, you remember the instructions given to you when you first began this path. Keep your back straight, eyes slightly lowered, hands in front, fingers gently folded. Do not sway. Do not rush. The street is your stage, but you are not performing. You are becoming. The guests you pass are varied. Businessmen in suits, foreigners with cameras they hesitate to lift, shopkeepers closing their stalls. Some know who you are, some only guess. No one stops you. No one speaks your name. That, too, is part of it. The power of being seen without being known. You pause at a crossing, bowing slightly to a senior Geiko as she walks by. Her pace is slower, her presence quieter. She no longer wears the bright sleeves of youth. Her kimono is subtler, more refined. She is further along the path you've only just begun. You watch her quietly, taking mental notes of how she holds herself, how she acknowledges others, how her very stillness seems full of movement. Then your group moves on. Sometimes the walk is your only appearance of the evening. There are no performances scheduled, no guests to entertain. The walk itself is the ritual. It is enough to be seen gracefully, respectfully, in the twilight of Kyoto. It is enough to remind the world that this tradition still lives, still breathes, still walks among the cobblestones. Other times, you are en route to a tea house, an okaya. There, you will join your elder Geiko and observe quietly from the side how she pours the sake, how she makes conversation, how she listens, how she turns each moment into something elegant. You are not there to speak. You are there to learn. You are always learning. But even before you arrive, this walk teaches you. It teaches you how to carry beauty, not wear it, how to hold silence without fear, how to let mystery do the speaking. It teaches you how to be watched without giving anything away, how to hold your own name behind your teeth, and let the world see only the art. Children sometimes peek from behind their mothers. They whisper and point, and the mothers hush them gently. You smile just slightly, only slightly. Too much, and you'd break the illusion. Too little, and you'd seem cold. Even your expressions must be measured, not fake, but tuned, like a stringed instrument. You reach the edge of Shirakawa Street, where the canal runs smooth and black beneath small wooden bridges. You know this part well. The sound of the water joins the clicking of your okobo, creating a music that only the city knows. Overhead, willow branches sway in the evening breeze. The lanterns reflect in the water like fireflies asleep. Sometimes, you forget your own name during these walks, not from tiredness, not from confusion, but because the role you step into is larger than yourself. You are not just a girl. You are tradition. You are form. You are art in motion. Your name matters less than your manner, your posture, your silence. It is strange, at times, being watched and never truly seen, being admired but not known. But there is safety in it, purpose, even pride. You are part of something that outlives you, something carried forward on quiet feet and heavy silk. You pass by the same tea houses, the same gates, the same stone lanterns each evening, but they are never exactly the same. The light changes, the air shifts, the people watching are different, and you change too. Each walk polishes you quietly, smooths your edges, refines your presence. Sometimes, if you look just right at the canal's surface, you can catch a glimpse of your reflection. Not your face, the paint masks it. Not your clothes, you didn't choose them. But the way you move, the way your shadow merges with the city. That's the part that's truly yours. Eventually, the walk ends. You return to the Okiya by a different route, avoiding backtracking, letting the mystery remain intact for those who saw you. The city begins to quiet down. The lanterns stay lit, but the streets thin out. You walk more slowly now, the okobo lighter with each step as you near the familiar wooden door. Inside, you will remove the sandals, untie the obi, clean your face, and let your shoulders drop for the first time in hours. But not yet. For now, you are still her, the Maiko walking through Gion, clicking softly through time, wrapped in layers of fabric and tradition, pass into the world like a sigh, like a secret not meant to be spoken aloud. And tomorrow, you will do it again. Evening deepens in Kyoto, folding into itself like layers of indigo silk. The lanterns outside the tea houses burn softly, their glow warming the cool stone streets. You have walked Gion's narrow ways in silence, your okobo echoing rhythmically between old wooden walls, and now you pause at the entrance of the Okiya. This is not just any tea house. It is one of the most respected in the district, a place where silence is golden, laughter is elegant, and the past never feels far away. You bow as you step through the threshold, not just out of custom, but from years of training in how to make every motion quiet, fluid, intentional. You are no longer merely a girl in a kimono. You are not even yourself. When you cross into this space, you become the geisha world's finest creation, poised, graceful, and utterly composed. You are a performer, yes, but not in the way of stages and loud applause. Here, your art is in subtlety, in understatement, in restraint. Inside, the Okiya is warm and hushed. The walls are wood and paper, lacquered and aged. The smell is comforting. Incense, tatama mats, and the faint trace of jasmine tea. This is a sacred space of another kind. Not a temple of religion, but of refinement. You do not speak loudly. You do not rush. You greet the Okami-san, the tea house mistress, with a respectful bow. Her eyes, always sharp beneath her serene exterior, scan you from head to toe, not to find fault, but to affirm that everything is as it should be. Tonight's guests have already arrived. Businessmen mostly, a few officials. Some are older, familiar faces who have attended many such evenings and know the customs. Others are younger, quieter, uncertain how to sit or sip or smile. You are aware of all of this before you even step into main room. And then you do. Your entrance is a performance all its own. You move like air, not to startle, but to settle in. The guests look up, and for a brief moment, Their expressions soften. Your presence is meant to do just that. You do not overwhelm. You soothe. You create a moment that feels lifted out of time. You are trained to make this seem effortless. And so, you smile just enough and begin. You kneel. You pull the seke. Your sleeves slide like water across the floor. You offer words in the soft Kyoto dialect, known for its elegance. You have rehearsed your stories, your laughter, your turns of phrase. But nothing about it feels artificial. That is the trick, the mastery, making art seem like nature. This is not flirtation. That is a common mistake by those who do not understand. You are not here to beg for affection or to indulge whims. You are here to host, to uplift, to provide an atmosphere so refined, so polished, that the outside world fades away. Your role is to carry the tradition of centuries in the tilt of your head and the grace of your silence. There is music tonight. You are to play the shamisen. Its long neck and taut strings have been your companion for years. You rise quietly and take your place in the corner of the room. A candle flickers beside you, casting long shadows across the polished floor. You hold the shamisen as if it were a part of your body. The bachi, the pick, rests in your hand, familiar and worn. You begin to play. The sound is delicate and spare, like wind brushing the edge of a fan. It is not meant to fill the room. It is meant to slip into the spaces between words, between sips of sake, between thoughts. The music does not demand attention. It offers companionship. Your fingers move with precision. You do not look at them. Your eyes stay half lowered. Your face neutral. You have practiced this piece 100 times, maybe more. But each time it feels different, shaped by the mood of the evening, by the shifting energy in the room. Some guests close their eyes. Others continue their conversation, voices hushed but lively. A few glance your way now and then, as if to remind themselves that you are not a dream, but something real. You are tired. Your back aches slightly from the posture. Your fingers numb at the tips. You have been up since dawn, rehearsing, walking, serving, learning. But none of this shows. It must never show. Your exhaustion is invisible, folded beneath the layers of performance like silk beneath an obi. After the music, you return to the gathering. You refill cups. You answer polite questions. You laugh at the right times, always careful to keep your voice soft, your tone amused but never mocking. You are practiced in this. The balance between presence and distance. There is a game played tonight, an old one involving poetry cards. You do not compete to win. That is not your role. You participate to entertain. You offer clever lines, graceful gestures, tiny surprises, all designed not to draw attention to yourself, but to enhance the room, to lift the evening. And yet, even in this performance, you wear a mask, not the painted one. Though the makeup contributes to the illusion, white face, red lips, the fine black lines of your eyebrows. No, the true mask is deeper. It is the expression of calm that never breaks, the perpetual ease, the practice listening, the concealment of all things personal. You do not speak of your own life, your feelings, your past. That would be inappropriate. It would shatter the illusion. Instead, you offer a version of yourself shaped entirely for this moment. You are a reflection of the guests' best selves. You mirror their hopes, their pride, their nostalgia in your company. They are wittier, more relaxed, more elegant than they believe themselves to be outside these walls. That is the heart of your role, not to be seen, but to make others feel seen. There are moments, brief, flickering, when the mask feels heavy, when you wish to rest, to laugh too loudly, to slouch, to say something that has not been rehearsed. But you let these feelings pass. You remind yourself why you do this. You do it for the tradition, for the lineage of women before you who walked these same floors, poured the same tea, played the same shamisen in the same candlelight. You do it for the Okiya that raised you, for the elder Geiko who taught you, for the name you are still building night by night, guest by guest. You do it because despite the tiredness, there is satisfaction in the perfection of it all. The evening begins to draw to a close. The guests rise, some reluctant to leave. They bow to you, thank you in the formal manner. Some offer compliments. You receive them graciously, never boastfully. A geisha never shows pride in her own elegance. It is simply expected. Like the seasons, like the moon, when they depart, the room feels empty for a moment. The absence of conversation, of movement, is almost startling. You remain behind to help tidy the space, to gather empty cups, fold the cloth, extinguish the candles. You do this quietly, without fanfare. Later, when you return to the okiya, you will remove your makeup in silence. You will rub your face clean with oils and cloth, revealing the skin beneath, softer, more vulnerable. You will soak your feet, comb your hair, and rest your neck against the wooden pillow that keeps your hairstyle intact. But for now, as you bow a final time in the entrance of the tea house, you hold the role for just a little longer. You are still her, the geisha with music in her fingers and a smile on her lips, who carries elegance like a lantern in the dark. The okiya is quiet in the hours after the guests have gone, and the last candle has been snuffed. The corridors, once filled with soft footsteps and faint music, are now hushed, wrapped in a stillness as fine as silk. You move slowly through the tatami-lined hallway, your tabi-clad feet brushing against the woven straw mats. The air is cool, and the scent of incense still lingers faintly in the wooden bones of the house. It is behind these walls that the true life of a geisha begins and ends. Not in the tea houses or under the glow of lanterns, but here, within the okiya, behind folding screens painted with cranes and misty pines, where emotions are kept folded and hidden like letters never sent. Tonight, after removing your makeup and carefully placing your hairpins on their stand, you find yourself in the corner room. It is a place where older geishas sometimes gather after a long evening, speaking little, sharing tea in silence. You've never been invited before, but tonight the door was slightly open. That is all the invitation needed in a place where gestures speak more than words. You slide the door gently and step in. She is already there, the senior geisha, known to you only as Ain-san, though her name has changed over the years. Her face is bare, no trace of white paint or red lip. Her hair is pinned simply now, no elaborate ornamentation, just a few strands escaping the back where sleep or time has had its way. She does not greet you with a smile, nor a nod. She simply pours a second cup of tea and places it in front of the mat across from her. That is enough. You kneel quietly, accepting the gesture, and wrap your hands around the warm porcelain. For a long time, neither of you speaks. The only sound is the soft hiss of the kettle and the distant creak of the house settling into sleep. You look at her hands, strong, lined, worn smooth by years of folding kimono, holding shamisen, and pouring tea for strangers. Her eyes, though ringed with fatigue, are bright and alert. There's a weight in her gaze, not heavy, but old, the kind of quiet that builds over years of listening more than speaking. Here, behind the folding screens, words are few, but meaning is not. A silence shared between geisha is not empty. It is layered with memory, with regret, with pride. Everything that cannot be said in the parlor room spills out here, not through voices, but through the curve of a hand, the lowering of an eye, the long breath taken before tea is sipped. You have questions, of course. Every apprentice does. About love, about escape, about whether the path ahead of you is lined with petals or thorns. But you do not ask them. You know better than that. In this world, direct questions rarely bring direct answers. If something is important, it will come in its own time, often wrapped in a story that appears unrelated. Ain-san sets her cup down softly, then speaks. When I started, my teacher told me that being a geisha meant becoming an invisible thread in the fabric of another person's evening. Her voice is low, unhurried, as if every word must first be examined before it's given away. I thought it meant we were nothing, she continues, that our job was to disappear. You nod slightly, unsure if you're allowed to speak. She doesn't look at you, just at the steam rising from her cup. But later, I realized the thread holds everything together. You feel her words settle in the room, more solid than any story. There's a kind of truth here that doesn't require explanation. Outside, a breeze stirs the bamboo in the courtyard. The night deepens. She tells you nothing directly. No tales of romance or hardship or triumph. But as she adjusts the sleeve of her robe, you see the faintest burn mark on her forearm, healed long ago. She does not hide it. She does not explain it. She does not need to. You understand that not all pain leaves when the evening ends. Some of it stays tucked behind the smiles, behind the laughter, behind the perfect movements. There were times when she wanted to leave. You can feel that without her saying it. Nights when the makeup felt like a mask too heavy to wear, when the silences grew too loud, when the joy of performance dulled into repetition. And yet, she stayed. She learned, she adapted, she endured. You wonder if endurance is the real art geisha are trained in. The quiet acceptance of things unsaid, of hopes unfulfilled, of days that blur into each other. But perhaps there is power in that too, in choosing stillness, in mastering the self so completely that nothing can break through unless invited. The folding screens in this room are older than you. Their painted scenes faded, their corners worn, yet they still stand, still divide the private from the public, still shelter the truth. You imagine how many secrets have been whispered behind them, or never whispered at all. You ask finally with caution, "Do you regret it?" She does not answer immediately. She lifts the teapot, refills her cup, refills yours. The motion is practice, meditative. "Regret," she says at last, "is something for people who had more choices." She doesn't sound bitter, just factual. And somehow, that honesty is more comforting than any false reassurance could be. "I chose what I could," she adds, "and I honored it." There's strength in those words, quiet, steady strength, the kind that doesn't shout or demand attention, but holds firm when the world turns. You sip your tea. It is slightly bitter, slightly sweet, like everything in this life. "Anesandra hiciste?" Slowly, she takes her empty cup and places it near the kettle. She turns toward the screen, the painted crane standing in silent procession, and gently touches its frame with her fingers. "You'll learn," she says, "that what we do isn't about perfection. It's about presence, about being fully here, even when no one sees it." And then she leaves the room without another word, her presence vanishing as quietly as she entered. You remain for a while, listening to the silence, letting it speak. The room feels fuller than before, though nothing has been added, just a few shared words. A cup of tea, a deeper understanding. You bow gently toward where she sat, then gather your things. When you slide the door shut behind you, the folding screens still stand in their place, unmoved. The painted cranes still soar across golden fields, timeless and mute, but something in you has changed. A layer of the mask is peeled away, not to expose what's beneath, but to show you what lies beneath all masks, a choice, a story, a kind of strength that does not need to be seen to be real. And so you return to your room, to your wooden pillow, to the night sounds of the Okia. Tomorrow will bring more laughter, more music, more silence. But tonight, you have heard what needed to be heard, not through confession, not through answers, but through the language of stillness and the wisdom behind the folding screen. The hour is late. The tea houses have dimmed. The streets beyond the Okia lie quiet in the hush of midnight, and even the city itself seems to exhale, releasing the last of the day's breath. You move through the house gently now, careful not to disturb the wooden floorboards beneath your feet. The laughter, the shamisen music, the soft rustle of silk, all of it has faded behind you like a distant tide receding. You are no longer the geisha they saw tonight. You are again the Maiko, the apprentice, a girl with sore feet, red shoulders, and dreams she cannot name. The transformation reverses, layer by careful layer. You sit at your mirror, not the one displayed in the parlor, but the smaller, worn mirror in your personal room. The reflection that greets you is soft edge in the faint light, almost unfamiliar beneath the layers of makeup. First, the thick white foundation is gently lifted from your face with damp cloths and warm water. You take your time. There is no hurry now. No one waits for you in the next room. The way of the day comes off with each motion. The painted lips, once crimson and defined, blur and fade. The pink on your cheeks vanishes. Only your own skin remains, flushed, bare, human. You set aside the brushes, the tools, the powders. One by one, you remove the kanzashi hairpins, delicate and ornate, laying them with care beside your comb. Each one is a memory of the evening, a compliment, a laugh, a gesture repeated too many times to count. As the last pin comes free, Your hair relaxes, falling into its natural shape, unbound and quiet. You reach behind your neck, fingers moving along the base of your skull, where the makeup thins into bare skin. That space has always been the mark of your transformation, the nape left visible, a symbol of beauty and ritual. But now it is hidden again beneath hair and night, unseen. With your face clean and your ornaments removed, you change into a soft cotton yukata. The weight of the kimono is gone. Your body feels strangely light without it, as if you removed not only fabric but expectations. The obi no longer presses against your stomach. Your ribs can finally expand with full breaths. The room is simple. The wooden beams above you are worn with time. The air is cool and carries a scent of tatami and pine from a courtyard beyond the shoji screens. You kneel beside your futon, not yet ready to lie down, your body still humming with energy from the evening. The wooden pillow, small and curved, waits patiently by the bed. It is not soft, not inviting, but it is yours. It cradles the neck and preserves the hairstyle, or it once did, when your hair was still dressed high in the style of a younger apprentice. Tonight, your head will rest on it in peace, with nothing to protect but your own thoughts. You slide into the futon, drawing the cotton blanket over your legs. Your arms feel heavy now. Your back aches slightly from the hours of posture, the careful stance, the graceful bow. But it is not a pain that troubles you. It is the echo of effort, a reminder that the art you practice is not effortless, even if it appears so. Your eyes close slowly, not from exhaustion alone, but from the comfort of the moment. The okiya is quiet around you. Other girls sleep behind other doors. Somewhere, a kettle clicks as it cools on a forgotten burner. A breeze moves through the walls, light and whispering. And then the dreams begin. They do not arrive in chaos, nor do they startle you. They rise gently, like mist over water, barely touching the surface before surrounding you completely. You dream of kimonas, not the ones you wear each evening, but kimonas made of wind and water, flowing endlessly, their patterns alive. They dance around you in colors that shift with the air, blues that echo the sky you've never seen from a mountaintop, reds that glow like the embers of incense. You walk through streets you've never visited, holding a lantern that flickers in rhythm with a flute playing somewhere far away. The sound is soft, nearly a memory, yet it guides you. You don't see the musician, but you feel their presence in each note. The rain begins gently in your dream, not the cold kind that drenches, but the soft, almost invisible kind that dances on rooftops and makes the lanterns shimmer with reflection. You hold your sleeve above your head and laugh, even though you rarely laugh aloud in waking life. No one is watching. There is no performance, just rain and silk and the sound of distant flutes. You dream of the ocean. You've never seen it, not once. You've heard stories from travelers, from a guest once who spoke of waves taller than rooftops and air filled with salt. You could not imagine it then, but in your dream, it arrives not with force, but with calling. The sea opens before you, wide and endless. You stand at its edge in bare feet. The water does not frighten you. It welcomes you. You step forward and it parts gently. You feel its coolness reach your ankles, then your knees. You do not sink. You float. Above you, the sky glows in hues you cannot name. Neither day nor night, neither sunrise nor dusk, just light and space. You drift, arms outstretched, carried by a current that does not pull or push, but simply supports. You wonder if this is what freedom feels like, not escape, but surrender, a letting go without falling. The dream shifts again. You are back in the okiya garden. The lanterns sway above the stones. The pond reflects the moon. You walk through it as if through memory, and each stone you pass shows a different image. The face of a guest who once gave you praise, the hand of Sister Geisha, who helped lace your obi, the silhouette of your teacher bowing in the distance. Each image fades as you walk on, until only one remains, your own reflection, but not painted or prepared. Just you as you are now, staring back from the surface of pond. And then morning comes, not abruptly, not with alarm or urgency. You rise like the light behind the hills, slow and quiet. Your breath is steady. Your limbs stretch gently beneath the blanket. There is no rush, no voices yet, just the sound of the world waking outside your window. You open your eyes and look at the ceiling. The wooden beams are the same. The pillow beneath you is unchanged. But something inside you feels softer, expanded. The dreams have not left you fully. They hum beneath your skin. You rise and fold your blanket with practiced ease. You wash your face in silence. You dress in the apprentice's robe and pin your hair slowly, thoughtfully. Today will bring another performance, another round of smiles, another evening of measured elegance. But for now, in the quiet of morning, you are simply yourself, a girl who once dreamed of the ocean, who still does. You step into the hallway. The day has begun. The world waits, as it always does, but you carry something with you now. A secret, a dream, a soft strength that no one sees, but that colors every step you take. And so you walk forward, not with haste, but with grace.